Hello, and welcome to the Rag Company Podcast. However, this is not your average Rag Company Podcast. This is a DETALKSCAST. And what does that mean? That means we have somebody from the detailing industry in this podcast. Levi, introduce our guest, please.
We have a friend here. You guys may know him. You may not. But he's the man, the myth, the legend. Greg from Detailed Image.
Hey!
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Wow. Round of applause.
That was
Nice.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Dramatic.
So,
Nice.
I guess we should
So
address
we're-
the fact we're not at home right now.
No, we're not at the
Nope.
Rag Company. We're not in Boise, Idaho.
No. Kind of the opposite, in fact.
Yeah, we're in Guilderland, New York.
Gilderland.
Guilderland.
That's the
Love
actual
that.
name of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
True.
Gilderland. That sounds really mythical. It sounds like we're really in just quite the place right now.
Well, it is. I mean, there's railroad tracks.
Gilderland, not far from Westeros, right? As some people would say.
Yeah, some.
Some would say that.
Or near Schenectady,
Okay.
Also
Albany
100%.
area.
So-
the capital.
Yeah.
Greg, we're here at Detailed Image, right? So we are here at your HQ, your warehouse,
Yep.
everything. We're here. So tell us kind of this operation. How long have you guys been here? And then I want to get into the history here in a little bit. So where are we at? What are we doing right now?
Yeah, as you guys said, we're in Guilderland Center, actually, and it's just outside Albany, which is the capital, shockingly, of New York here, too.
It's not New York City yet.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
No way.
You're always 10, 15
You really
minutes.
didn't know that?
No, I swear,
really
I
didn't-
swear to you guys, I did not
He's
know that.
learning right now.
Yep.
I thought Lady Liberty was right at the core of the
Oh.
capital of that.
No.
No, shocking.
In her head was the
Still
no,
in elementary
no,
school.
Okay,
Too many
all right.
movies. this guy.
It's an awesome area. You're 10, 15 minutes from several cities, and you're 10, 15 minutes from being in no man's land, or you're in
Which
the
is-
woods. So that's the appeal of it too.
you don't have
We
to
do have a
tell
little
me.
bit of
Yeah.
a small city complex being near New York and Boston. You know,
Yeah.
'cause no one will ever be those cities. But no, it's a great area for us. We're very fortunate to be here. We've been in this location, I think, about 11 years now. Believe it or not.
No way.
Yep. So it's been a great ride here. We've had a lot of success here. It's been a key to our growth here too. So very, very fortunate, very lucky to be here. So
You were telling me
appreciate it.
something about the complex itself. So, like, we had to come through. We had to go through a security gate.
Yeah, that was not a
Yeah.
normal
That
business
was
part
cool.
procedure.
No.
yeah,
At
it's
least
but
in our
then-
experience.
but then we
it
were
was
surprised
formed.
by it.
It was formed from what I've heard loosely. It was formed basically before the Korean War. And it was basically to then start serving supplies to our troops via the railroad,
It
and it
looks
went
like
down
that.
there.
It looks exactly
it's,
like
it's,
you'd
it's
think
industrial,
that.
basically, yeah. And then it obviously the need for those things, dissipated over the years too. And then this became kind of run down. Then they basically brought in a group to manage the property, and then they kind of turned it more into warehouse space. So I think it's kind of very quickly evolved from this industrial thing to everyone now online stores and warehouse space basically is now what occupies a lot.
I think
of
it's
it.
a
So-
cool area.
No,
Yeah,
I think
I love it.
It's super cool.
I think it's any car enthusiast like heaven for like a photo shoot because
Yeah.
we're looking at all
Yes.
these different backdrops and we have the woods,
Yeah.
we have railroads,
Mhm.
we have kind of like some really old industrial looking buildings where I'm like, okay, this is just
I
setting
like
up
grass
for.
coming up between the
Oh, yeah.
rails, give
Yeah.
that color.
It's this
texture.
photo shoot
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
man. Just rent
There's
out
the
this
gas
area.
pipelines.
Yeah,
Yep. You pull your car over there and take a quick photo.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
drive my
folks,
car
we're just
cross
looking.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is our first stop on our East Coast tour for 2019, right? Last year when we did our East Coast tour, we went through
We went
7, 8 states.
Yeah.
In
down
a
to
couple
Virginia,
days.
Yeah.
down to Virginia and back up.
Yeah,
Wow.
so this is our first time. This is the furthest north the Rag Company has been. I mean, in terms of coming up here in the States.
Yeah.
And so we're up here. This is our first stop. We have a few others to stop through, but we got to drive through. We came from Newark.
Newark, yeah.
We came from Newark, and so came straight up here as our first stop. Stayed at our. We went to dinner first.
Yeah.
Where did we go to dinner?
Barn cider.
Barn Cider. And we were
Yes.
actually talking about those steaks last night to Jeff and
We were.
Carolyn, the owners of the Rag Company. We were
they
telling them
delectable.
how good those steaks actually
Yeah, it was the
were.
Thank
first
you
time
for
in my life.
recommending that.
It's the first time in my life I've filled up on steak.
Good,
You-
good for you.
you
Wow.
did.
Finished it. I literally looked at Anthony, like we got in the car, I was like, Anthony, I couldn't finish my steak.
And I looked at him very disappointed.
He was
And I
like-
said, how did you
I
not?
said I don't know, but it couldn't. It was.
We did salad bar, appetizers,
I did. I
so.
did, but that's it's. I don't know if it's a sign of getting older.
Well, you did eat a slab of cheese.
Yes.
It was a very large chunk
wasn't
of
that
cheese.
big.
It was the size of my fist, Levi. It was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was very
And
large.
this is what separates our podcast from the others.
Absolutely. So we
Hot
went,
cheese and meat top.
went out to dinner. Morgan had her first glass of wine she's ever had.
no.
Congratulations, Morgan. We're very happy for you. And then from there, right, went back to her hotel. and we are here today.
Fabulous Super 8 in Schenectady.
And so, well, our plans for today is to, now that we're finally here, we're wanting to do maybe a live video here in a little bit. We're getting this podcast knocked out, and then maybe do an actual video for our YouTube channel, going over some shipping that you guys do here, because you guys are known for your shipping, and after seeing your shipping table set up and how you guys pull your orders,
it makes a lot of
genius.
sense.
Yeah. We love the way you have it set up, and
I think it's going to be the highlight, because I don't think a lot of people understand what goes
into that.
Well, just the little details you guys have focused on to get maximum efficiency out of your staff, which I'm all about.
It's just a thing people expect. Oh, I guess I get shipping. They don't think of what that entails. So in your case, you put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, and I would say, whether you like it or not, we're all competing against Amazon, and you better be prepared, because they're coming for you, and you better up your game. And we're trying to approach from every angle possible, and that's certainly some of the angles I think we're working on. And we're really just trying to deliver the best service at the lowest prices, and that's why we work so hard on those things. Is we don't want to have to charge a customer a penny more than we have to. So we are aggressively attacking that the best we can to keep it reasonable for everybody.
Yeah, we know that if Jeff were to, so the owner, one of the owners, if he were to have come here and seen your shipping setup,
he'd be on the phone with John.
He would be like, John, this is what they're doing, and then it's fantastic, and they know what they're doing.
You need to figure it out. I want it ready when I get back.
Yeah. John's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what it looks like. He's like, John, just figure it out. We need this set up.
I'm looking right at it.
Yeah,
I'm looking right at it.
It's countless hours have gone into the programming, to just everything that has to go into it. It's endless hours have gone into those conversations, and just and then also new features come out from the shipping companies, new options, prices go up, surcharges go up, fees go up. How can we combat that? Is there anything we can do to avoid that and keep the prices low? So we're constantly, the customer doesn't see that, but we are working on that all the time to keep the prices low, and it's becoming very, very difficult with heavy liquids to keep the prices reasonable. And
shipping liquids,
those throw a wrench into it every time.
Yes, and we get thrown a lot of solutions. Asked like, what you should try is this, and like, we ship liquids. They're like, oh, that wouldn't work for you guys. We're like, that, keep trying.
Yeah. So I guess let's trail all the way back to Detailed Image, the roots of Detailed Image.
Yes.
Where did this start? How did this idea come about? What did you guys do before this? And you guys were selling detailing products. Have you detailed?
Yeah.
We want to know it all.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go back to the beginning there too. So I'll start off with my neighbor and friend. He probably overbought a touch when he bought a lightly used Audi S4, tuned it up, wheels, everything. It was a beautiful car. It was an absolute rocket. And, he was taking good care of it. And we were starting to kind of notice that there were some this is around 2004. So the internet, and especially car care, like online, was in its infancy at best, so there's really very little out there. But he managed to he dug and he found some products from like the UK, and he started finding brands that I had never even heard of. So we were playing around with them, and it was really interesting to see what results we could get, and beyond stuff that we could just buy locally. And that really piqued our interest. We're like, wow, I wonder how many of these types of products are out there in the world, and especially like, I think, Europe was maybe even just a touch behind us with some of their development too, and some of these brands, had literally zero presence online. So you're finding it out from, not from the company, but you might be just reading on a detailing, or a car blog, and you're reading it through there. So anyways, we kind of just started pursuing that, and we started doing a little bit of detailing, just kind of for friends and family. And then that winter, we were like, you know what? I think we could make a business of both these things. Let's get the products in, sell them. We'll get them at a better rate. And we will also, at the same time, we will do detailing. So that's what we did for the first about 3 years. I was in graduate school full time, but that was only in evening classes. And so basically from, as early as you get up, 7, 8 in the morning, basically detailed all day. At 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we'd stop, ship out packages. And then I would get to class at 6:30, and I would do graduate school till 9:45, and then you do your group meetings and group projects you would do in the evening with the rest of the class too. So and when you're 22, you can do that. You can just go all night, and we detailed our first year in business. Like a lot of people, we were very fortunate. We did a ton of guerrilla marketing, showing up at car shows, putting our business card in any nice card I saw, and I think we were booked our first 40 something days. We were booked every minute of every day, sometimes 2 or 3 cars in a day, and we were just hauling, just detailing as much as humanly possible. And then we got 1 day off, and then we went back at another month or 2 of just being booked straight, and it was just great. It was just took off, and the products were, it was probably a little slower, the growth there, but that started growing too. we just loved it. And the more we found, the more products we started to find, and we started building this little bit of a reputation. It started to build. I think we were one of the very first companies that started selling the flex buffer to auto detailing. They had already existed in more like, you know, some other industrial applications, but they hadn't really been in, to the best of our knowledge, had not been in the detailing world. So we thought we were like rock stars. That we were like introducing. We might have been amongst maybe some other companies, but there wasn't many people online talking about it. So, you know, all of a sudden we're selling 10 buffers in a month, and we thought it was just like these flex buffers. Like, wow. We thought we were changing the world there. So no, it was exciting, you know, to kind of be on the forefront of something for the first time, and it just started gaining some traction. A couple years later, you know, we kind of started making a decision that we were going to have to kind of take this thing to the next level, and we said, let's focus on the products. That's where I felt the most passion. I love doing the service, and it gives you so much knowledge of the product and experience and talking to people, and you're getting a lot of different types of vehicles where you're going to have to find different solutions, and that's great, so you can relate to customers in various situations. And then we basically sold the service for just a little bit of money, kind of walked away from that, and we said we're going all in the products, and that's when we basically moved out, and we bought this, we rented this warehouse. So that was kind of the transition for us there. And that's a difficult thing. We went from just, you know, borrowing, you know, having used tables and everything else, you know, just, you know, beg, borrowed, and, you know, donated was all the things we had for the most part to this space. We all decided to suspend pay for 3 months, basically, just to say we will make this work. We wanted a bunch of new brands, and we basically said, you know, we're going to make this work. And luckily enough, my personal expenses were low enough at that time that it was just like, you know what, we can do this. And, you know, the business meant more to me than going out or, you know, buying something at that time. So, and believe me, when we resumed pay, it wasn't this phenomenal rate that was changing the game. It was like pay your basic bills, basically. But
it's sometimes the sacrifices like
that
make the difference.
Absolutely. And you know, it was my girlfriend at the time, and then my wife, and I was like, listen, this is where I'm going to be at financially for a while. Like, this is what I've chosen to do. And, you know, either you're going to be fine with going to parks and doing these other things and watching movies at home and those types of things, or not. And, you know, she was 100% supportive, and I'm very lucky, and that's why she's my wife today. So shout out to her.
The real boss.
Yeah, exactly. She's running the whole show, really.
So when did the Detailed Image name come about? Was that when you guys were detailing?
It was instantly, yeah. We pretty much when we very first started, and it really, as almost all big decisions come down to, it's what domain name can you get? And the name to me, I always thought of as, after we detailed a car, one of my favorite things was, you're all done, getting ready for the customer to pick it up, take a couple photos so you have it for your record, and like sometimes you would just look at it and you could see a flag in the reflection of the car, and like, that thing is such a detailed image. Like, you literally, you couldn't even tell you were looking at a reflection. You would think you were actually looking at the flag, and that's kind of where it came from for me. And the domain was available, so that's most importantly.
Ultimately, that's what matters.
And even back in 2004 when we were doing that, there was still so many domains were already gone. So like all the good, you know, 4, 5, 6 letter words were pretty much gone.
It was like the late 90s, early 2000s, right around the time of the boom. Everybody was just going out buying whatever domain they could find that was like an obvious domain. Knock it out.
Yeah, that was challenging there, but limits.
So where you guys are today, so how many different brands are you guys carrying today? And we're part of it. The Rag Company is part of it.
We're proud to have you on board.
We're happy to be a part of it. But what other brands are you carrying? So I mean, so people can have a good idea, because we know we distribute a couple different brands at the Rag Company, but primarily our biggest focus or bread and butter is towels, right? So, but for you guys, I would say a lot of it's chemicals, right? A lot of different chemicals from different brands.
Yeah, I think right now we're about 70 plus brands. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 1,800 plus products, somewhere in that range. And we've cycled through, we've had lots of other products over the years that have kind of come and gone. Some our decisions, some manufacturers have left. So yeah, it's awesome. I love the growth of it, but managing that is also a challenge in of itself. And I do like to point out that's one of the things I think distinguishes us too, is that we don't have any affiliation with any manufacturer of any kind. We are not required to pick up anything from anybody. We basically only start relationships with people who allow us to pick and choose the products that we feel work best for us. So there's been some offers at times. It's like, pick up the whole brand and I will give you X price. And I've said no to all of them, basically, and maybe unless it worked out and we already wanted everything, maybe. But for the most part, it would not work for us. We cherry pick what we like, and I think that's one thing you'll see with us is we have a curated list of products from every company that we work with. Yeah. And it's not necessarily saying the products we don't carry don't work. It may just not match our needs at that time. It could be for a variety of reasons. And we have to respect what our customers are looking for too. Eventually, we have trends that these products in these areas have not sold for whatever reasons, and therefore there's a good chance we may not pick it up from a new manufacturer. But yes, we have a very particular group of products out there that's curated by myself, and also it's the feedback from the customers. I don't think some of these people don't realize the power they have with their feedback through emails or on any social media. And also just people email me directly, why don't you have this? You know, it has an impact, believe it or not. People may not realize that has a big impact.
I'm guessing you guys get a lot of those emails though,
We
too,
do.
because we get a ton of emails, and it's always like that one-off product where we're like, nobody's ever asked for it, but
You're
there's
literally
that
the only
person that's
person
just
who-
really adamant
Yes.
about it and says, hey, when will you guys have this? I've been waiting for this. Are you guys going to have this? And we're sitting here, I'm like, well, are you going to be the sole buyer of every product,
Because as a
that
business,
bring
that's not
in?
going to work out.
Because it's definitely a one-off.
Yeah, and also you have to weigh whether that one person is really is that voice maybe representing 100 people who aren't emailing you, or is this person just really a one of? And the worst part is when you get 2 of those emails or 3 of them, and you're like, all right, now does that represent hundreds of people who are
It's
looking at
happening.
it?
It's something's happening.
But the beauty is we have lots of other things that we do internally here where we can measure those things. We can look at it. We can put it on social media. We can talk to our customers. We can search all of our email history. We do all these types of things so we can actually put some numerical values around it that help us make a good decision. But ultimately, it's still an art. You know, there's no real. You cannot say this is definitely the answer. And on top of that, so you're getting requests for a particular product. Okay, maybe I do believe in that product, but do I want to pick them up for one product? Is it worth going out there? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You know, do I want the whole brand? I don't know.
Or adding for us, it's confusion. It's if we've got right now we've got 4 compounds basically. So we've got or compound polishes.
Yeah.
If we add another line, now we have 6. We're already fielding questions when people go, "What's the difference between this and this?"
Yeah.
Now, what's the difference between that and that? And why do I need to buy that one? And it's like, well, we carry what we carry, same as you guys. We curate what we want because we like the way it works. And we guarantee that you'll like the way it works. It's easy, that it's fast, it's quick, that it does all the stuff that it does. But it's trying to let a customer know. Like, we're not trying to push one brand over the other, but sometimes it feels like that.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
And it's hard when you keep increasing your brands as to which ones you're trying to
it's,
sell. So
10 soaps and they all do the same thing, and they're like, what's the difference?
The expression of paralysis by analysis. So
Yeah.
too much thought makes it too hard, and you're better off paring it down a lot of times. And that is one of the challenges. And I've said this to numerous new manufacturers when we talk to them. It's like, I say this tongue in cheek. I'm like, I don't need my 80th wax. I don't need that. Like, if you have a game changer, that is what I'm interested in hearing about. Lead with that. Show me you have something that is going to be amongst the absolute best in some area, and that is what I gravitate towards first. So if you want me to test a product and you would like Detail Managers to carry it, that's probably one of the fastest ways to probably get on the shelf. Is you show me that you have something that is truly unique and that it's better than something else out there, and then it gives more credence to the rest of the brand, and that I'll take that into consideration. And it's a fun process. It's difficult. It's challenging, and you don't want to offend anybody because a lot of people put their heart and their soul into their brand and they're pushing really hard. Yeah. But ultimately, we have to make a decision that's best for our business and for our customers. And it's a hard thing, and it's not a perfect process, but we keep working at it. We're getting better and better, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's never, the job's never over. There's always improvements to be made.
And one of the things that I always loved about you guys, and this goes back to when I had a shop, was your wholesale program.
Yeah, yep.
I was a tier 2 wholesaler, and I loved it because it allowed me to be able to purchase at a discount and be able to buy a bunch of product to outfit the shop, and it was much easier because I only had a guy on a truck. And that guy on the truck maybe carried 1 or 2 brands.
Right.
He had his little mobile detail shop, and that was all it was. And I was lucky when another company would come in and bring in another truck that had maybe 2 other brands. And now I'm like, I got like 4 brands I can choose from of stuff. Like, look at this. Hey, I'll buy this from this person. That. But that was still once a week they'd show up. And so all of a sudden, it was at that time, it was 2011. All of a sudden, because it's my shop, because I want to be able to bring in other things, you guys were who I purchased a lot from because it was easy. You had a good selection, but then great pricing, especially as a wholesaler.
Yeah, that's one thing we take a lot of pride in there too. Is
and fast shipping.
Yeah, the wholesale program is very simplistic. companies who purchase a lot should be rewarded for that, and that's basically the general premise of it. If you're a regular who purchases a lot, I don't want you to have to like wait for a promo type thing. You've earned it. I have your history of what you've spent, and basically track that. It's all recorded for you, and basically if you spend more, you save more. It's very simplistic, and there's really no like loophole in it too. So if you spend more, you save more. It's a simple concept, and I like rewarding people who have been loyal to us, and it's a great thing that I think hopefully works for both parties.
Oh, everybody appreciates it.
Yeah. No, I'm glad.
So now one cool thing is that so you carry our products, we have the wash mitt back here behind. So
Cyclone's on special
today.
Cyclone's
on special today. So one cool thing we were talking about this yesterday is the fact that we know on the chemicals that we sell, what works best with our lineup, but having that extensive brand range here that you have here, you get to see a lot of different combinations and a lot of different sales of certain chemicals with certain towels or maybe certain washes with certain mitts or and so forth. So in terms of stuff that you've played with, out of the TRC line, what do you like the most? What have you played with? What do you enjoy using for your washes at home and stuff?
Yeah, the hard part now is so much of my time goes into testing, so I almost couldn't even say I have a favorite because I won't even get to use it enough almost for it to be a favorite, that I'm just constantly on to the next, and my pile of things to test is larger than my pile of favorites at this point, so it's almost an intimidating wall to look at there. The other second part of that too is it was interesting, you guys were talking about like how you have 4 compounds and you're nervous about bringing more in just because that's a little bit of conflict there. I think we've become a source for having great customer support. People know if you email us, you're going to get a response, and usually a very timely response at that too. The hard part now is someone will email me and say, hey, by the way, I picked up a flex buffer, I modified it, I now have a different backing plate on it, I want to use my Chemical Guys backing plate, and I love the Optimum polishes. What do I do? It's like, what do I do now? And I'm like, it's the combinations now have become so, it's infinite basically, that it's impossible for me. I'd like to pretend I have all this knowledge, but I just don't do enough detailing that I could have all of that ready for people there too. So anyways, circling back to your question there too, so it's challenging to answer all these questions because they're just the combinations now. The first like 800-900 products we carried, I had personal experience with them, professional experience with them. I knew them inside and out, and then as it evolves over time, and over 15 years it's evolved tremendously. I have less and less experience, so it's become challenging. But again, circling back to your questions,
or just like some of your favorite TRC stuff. So I saw creatures out there. We saw wash mitts. Is there anything that you're like, well, we sell a lot of these and we really enjoy these.
The Eagle obviously is huge. That's just an absolute go-to. Literally across the board. I microfiber is somewhat universal. You could argue it using a lot of things a lot of different ways, but that is just kind of the go-to for just so many different areas. We just got in the platinum pluffles. Those are amazing. That we knew we had requests for that, so that was really exciting to get that in there too. That has been that went quick, and they're at the beginning there too, so that was exciting. To add them to it and to see customers' reactions and the photos of it. It's just a beautiful towel. It's one of
people love those things.
You touch it and you're just like, that's nice. Like, you're just like, that's better than some of the other things that maybe look similar or kind of in that ballpark. You're like, this is different. It's the first time you pick up an iPad, you're like, this is a little different than some of the other things I've maybe handled in my life.
Pluffle is arguably, it's I would say it's probably my favorite, if not my second favorite towel. It really is a towel that can do a lot of different things too that a lot of people don't realize, and it is unique in itself. Like, you pick up that towel and you know for sure that that's a Pluffle, and so it's one of our favorites. But going out there and walking around through the warehouse, it's funny because I'm going out there looking at all these different products. I'm like, I'm already cracking them open just to start smelling them. And I'm like, what does this smell like? What does this smell like? But I'm envious because I'm like, holy crap, dude, I could, this. I'm envious, but yet I'm also like understanding that they know how long that testing would take. If I had to go through each one of those products, right, and grab a chemical and say, now which towel do I pair this with out of our 150, 170 plus towels that we have? That's crazy. So I didn't expect you to answer that question like, this is what, this goes with this, because that's insane.
And it evolves over time very quickly too, because we just added, I think, at least 5 or 10 more towels from the rag company, very recently too. So it's the constant evolving, and also towels change over time too, especially if someone's, working, and it tends to be more the factories that come out of China. That towel will not be the same 2 years later as the towel. You'll order the same towel. It will not be exactly the same 2 years later for the most part. That's been my experience, that they do change and evolve over time. And
try to improve the quality. Honestly,
it's always constant improvement. But we also, and we notice there's a lot of companies that have created their own version of towels, and they come to us mostly. They stop carrying their own and come for quality because we have the ability to stay on top of the factories in terms of quality, in terms of measurements, in terms of weights, in terms of that kind of stuff. And if it's not meeting our expectations, we let them know. And that's one of the things that we really, really try to watch out for, because it does. You're right.
And I think that circles back to why did Detail Limits choose to partner with the rag company? We had heard about you guys for a couple years, and I started getting more and more requests. And I think it was a perfect storm of why you guys have probably come and become so big. What seems quick to me, but it seems you guys so big, was because I think there was so much non-branded microfiber out there that was changing, and the word microfiber just became lost almost at some point too. People just didn't even know what it meant anymore. I mean, people didn't know what it was in the beginning just because it was a new material, and then all of a sudden it became lost because there was a flood of stuff coming in. No one knew if this towel should be worth $20 or $2 because
they
Costco.
Look the same.
Yes, exactly, and it became very challenging, and the education just wasn't there for it. And then all of a sudden it just became more and more microfiber. And I think what happened was it almost hurt the value of the word microfiber at some point because it got flooded and watered down.
Because people, it's almost like it's Alcantara, or it's a single micro band, or it's a word, it's a thing. Oh, it's just microfiber. Microfiber's all microfiber.
All tires are tires, or rubber, right? Same thing, It's like,
when I was using them, we were calling them smudge rags.
Smudge,
That was what we called them, and it was because that was you. Yeah, I told. Like, I remember it was 2002, 2003, we were calling them smudge rags, and it was because that was what you go get the rest of your smudges off with. That was your last touch towel. That was the only time we used it, but it was a Costco towel.
Well, how many times have you been told by a guy who's like, I swear up and down, I only use cotton bath towels, I won't use anything else, I don't use microfiber, they don't absorb anything. How many times have you heard somebody say that, and you're like, okay, this is a moment for education?
Well, because a lot of those people in the very beginning, a lot of these people's first experience with microfiber was when they didn't absorb, and it is true. There was a time when those towels were coming out. I remember being a teenager going out and getting my first little bag of microfiber towels that were some odd, weird colors.
I'd like to make a moment on this recording that Anthony said when he was a teenager, he bought a bag of microfibers. When I was a teenager, I bought a bag of baby diapers.
Yes, yep.
So just generational.
But this was, I'm probably say this was my late teens, because before that, when I was 16, I went to I go to the store. I say, hey, what am I using to remove polish, right? And they say there is a roll of old cut up cotton tees that a lot of people like to grab, right?
I've seen those.
They bleach some white tees, and you just go and grab them, and the shapes and sizes were always weird. It was weird cuts and tears of I don't know what the hell they were.
They're not even that soft though.
No.
They lose the softness when you bleach them.
But for me, I grab them I'm like, okay, well, this is the highest quality thing they have here at O'Reilly's, so this is what I'm going with. And so, but finally getting my first, these are microfiber towels. I remember grabbing them and then being like, I hate the way these things feel. I have these soft child hands at that time, and they're still catching my hands, and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to touch them.
Some people call those baby hands.
And then I wash them once, right? And then I pull them out of the washer, and I'm like, what are all these lint balls on here? These don't look right. This looks bad. Should I not wash them with my blue, medical rags and my Huck towels? Dude, it was so. Going back to a lot of people didn't know, now they need to feel comfortable and know that some of these towels, that we have, the Twistress, the Pluffle, Twist and Shout, all these different drying towels that we have are ridiculously absorbent. They are. They really are. And they kill it. And people always come to us, and especially when it comes to nowadays with people using drying aids and that being more common, and people using spray waxes, quick detailers. Those towels are being even more absorbent than they were, and now you're adding protection, not one step, and it's
that's
perfect system.
And I think that's basically what I was getting to, was that, as you were alluding to, is that there became this mistrust and this lack of understanding of the word. People now say, okay, I kind of know what microfiber is, but I don't know where to get the good stuff. I've gotten some good here and some was bad over here, and they're getting confused. And I think it was the perfect storm of it became popular. People knew it was working really well. I mean, there was no question it was better than cotton for almost every application in detailing. But there was a mistrust. And then there became brand recognition within Microfiber, and I think that's where you guys struck gold. Was here's a brand, we will curate, we will not let quality dip, we will inspect our towels, and you can trust our towels. So when it's from the rag company, it means something, and I think that was it was awesome on your guys' part. You guys identified it, you guys hit it just right. You guys didn't just start ordering nice towels. You guys really took control of the quality control, and I think it totally showed, and it gave a lot of people confidence. So like, I don't even know if this is a good price on a towel. I don't care. I trust them now, and I'm willing to put my money into it. And I think that hopefully paid huge dividends for you guys, and it's certainly a big part of why we picked you up too, because we said we need a trusted source. We need someone who has pull at a factory, who can take control of quality control, because that is one of the biggest problems.
You want to buy with confidence.
Yes, and people deserve it, and they're not cheap towels, and they're really critical to your process. It's it's always a part of your last step is that wipe down, and if the towel is terrible, it's impossible to do it's almost impossible. I can't think of any scenario where you could do a high quality detailing work without high quality towels.
Finish off this job with this 25-cent towel.
Exactly.
I just marred this whole thing.
Yeah.
I spent
or
the last
linting
14
with the
hours.
coating.
Yeah, my $200 coating was just ruined by this 20-cent towel.
Because I wasn't willing to spend $2 on a better towel.
Not even 80 cents more. Go buy a wholesale case of There's a lot of different options out there, but I think that and you have the experience, and being in this for as long as you have, you've seen bad towels, and you've bought probably towels where you were like, crap, this was not what I was expecting to get, and that's where that's what we do, and this is what we do every single day. And this is when we get a new order of towels, or we create a new towel, and that gets in first, literally within seconds, Jeff is cracking open that box to hand one to each one of us and say, hey, let's look through and through and check it out.
And when we develop towels, it takes, some towels are 3 to 6 months in the making. Other towels are, the Eagle, when we refreshed the Eagle line, that was a huge deal, because that's our flagship.
That was the best known towel. So.
That was one of those things where we were like, are we making the right choice? The towel's great.
When you guys design a towel, come up with a concept, how nervous are you guys when you guys actually get that first big shipment in of it?
We go through like drafts.
We go through drafts of it, and the hard part though is just trying to agree. Like, we've got one that is in contention that Jeff likes to drop every once in a while in the middle of a conversation when we're talking about an idea of like, maybe we should do something like these. Like, it works great.
We have,
and then we have screams in the corner.
We have code names for all of our prototypes.
Get that demon towel.
And so we always have like a few in the mix, and there's somewhere it's just trying to find the right blend and mix of because people don't, there are people that think like, oh, you're just pulling towels from the factory.
Right. Yeah,
we're not like
pick them off the shelf or something.
We do get samples from the factory. We say, give us samples of every type of weave, blends. Colors is no big deal because we can dye anything. So we just say, give us different weaves, give us different blends, and then we formulate based on size, absorbency, ability to do this, what it needs to be able to do, where we have a hole or what we have a niche that we need to fill. But that can change drastically factory to factory. And so we want to make sure that we're always, even if we've gotten, one towel, we're like, we want to try and replace this or refresh this. And we start working our way down, and then we go, let's see if they can do this color. And we get it, and we're like, man, that doesn't work. It's not as nice as what we currently have. So we're not going to go with it. We'll just keep what we're doing for now. Other towels, it's like, holy cow, this is a perfect version 2.0 of this towel. Let's go with it. And that is an awesome feeling when we can get into that and make that pathway. But it takes a really long time. And like Drago, the fan favorite, that Jeff still doesn't understand. Like he gets excited. He's like he doesn't understand the people that are mourning the loss of it at the moment because we're out of stock of it. But we are focused on trying to make that towel better because it is a great towel. We want to make it greater because we want it to be a hot seller, because we want, like, our goal is motivated by profit, because we are a business. We want to sell a crap load of towels to people, and we want them to just be able to buy a bunch of them, but we also want them to have an amazing customer experience, to reason they love those towels.
That's the thing. With the way we want them to sell, like, there's nothing wrong with wanting something to sell, but it's how you get there that's important.
Yeah.
We want it to sell because other people go, wow, this is great, and they tell someone else, and that person buys
Well,
it.
we
It
want
spreads
them
that
to-
way. Not because you're like, well, let's just dump it.
And like I said, and the company is a family business. It's Jeff and Carolyn.
Yeah.
Like before we went on this trip, they sat us down and said, "We think of you guys like our kids."
I'm the only actual.
Be three brothers.
Did they tell you to be safe?
They said, "Be safe." Told us to be safe.
Watch over your little sister and make
Keep
sure
Morgan okay. Make
Yeah,
sure
she
that
doesn't run
she's
away.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but that's at the end of the day, like it's a mom and pop,
Yeah.
and they run it like that. And so, in that same family vein, you're going to buy a product from the rag company. We want it to make you happy. We want it to make you feel good. We want it to spark joy.
And you guys have gone so
You
far
know.
down that path of being high quality that it would just be crazy to just start pivoting and say we got to go faster and we got to start now. We got to cut a little corner here.
Cut corners,
Yeah, and I'm sure that that ultimately costs money. There's no possible way around it without it being taking time and man hours and lots of revisions and sending things back
Yeah.
and constant conversations. But I commend you guys because I know the battle that is, and I've heard from many other companies how challenging that is, and that was one of the things that made the decision to start. As I did more research and met you guys at SEMA, I was like, this is the right company to work with. Like they've got it under control and they see the problems and they've addressed them, and that's why I knew you guys would be the right partner. And it's been very successful in our store from day one, and that's why we've added more towels.
yeah.
Well, much appreciated. That's
Yeah.
one of the big things, though, is like when you find yourself in those situations, right, where you're like, okay, this is what this particular category of product costs. This is what people generally pay for it. Are things going to come in a little more expensive than that? Not because we're trying to make a big profit, but because literally it's just more expensive. The way we want to do it, the way we consider this is the right way to do it, it's going to be more expensive. We have to have faith that people are going to want to do that. And generally we find that just put it out there, really give it a shot, and usually people will come to understand once they use it, like, oh wow, this is vastly superior to whatever I was using before. And you just have to do that leap of faith sometimes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, you are a business.
Well,
yeah,
one
no,
of-
and there's economic restrictions too about how if you go really, really high end, you have to think: will people pay $10 for a towel? And you're gonna have to give it some serious thought. Whether that has a market, and so that's what I said. It's not a charity. You have to think about the business.
We can't all be streetwear brands. Like here's this $5 T-shirt for $200.
Why are you looking at me?
No, but like one of the big things that I loved, kudos to you guys, and one of the things we've pulled, flattery is the sincerest form.
There you go.
Doing great.
Is education.
Yeah.
And you guys have kind of, in a way, led that for being an online resource with the Ask a Pro blog series. I used to pull from that. I used to read articles trying to figure out something, trying to see how I could do it better. I used it for years. I used it as a training method for a lot of my new employees.
Yeah.
It was like, here's some articles, go on Detailed Image.
Yeah,
Read
and
them,
if I can
you're gonna
backtrack
have-
for a minute
you're gonna
too,
use them.
I'll tell you one of the things that really got us started. We started getting some traction was back in the day. This is going back probably about 13 years. I started posting on. We were on a couple forums. I think it was on E46 Fanatics. That was one we were really popular on. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we got the M3, right? And we started answering questions on there, and then all of a sudden, it was against 2005, probably about this time when we first started too. We're like, we probably need to sponsor this group to actually, because we're answering so many questions now that inevitably self-plug that, we're like, oh, this is definitely going down the shilling path. So like, we basically talked to them, we're like, yeah, they set up a sponsorship. And one of the first things we did, we started answering so many questions and a lot of them repetitive. So we said, let's start a thread called Ask a Professional Detailer.
Nice.
And it had, hundreds of thousands of views over years and years. And we would just constantly stay at the top. I think they would pin it at the top there too. And basically we were going out there and proactively answering questions for people, even if it was only loosely related to detailing, or if it wasn't even something a lot of times we didn't have the product to solve the problem. But just if you just did the right thing and just help people out, answer their question, point them in the right direction, give them links, show them a video of how it works. Again, this is going back 2005, 2006, so this is actually really more challenging back then too.
Pioneering.
Yes, almost, in a way. We were proactively seeking out almost customer service and sales leads, and we were helping people that way, and it really became beneficial for us, and I think the community loved it too. People were like, if you have any questions, like just go ask Detailed Image, just go ask them. Then we started doing that across more and more forums. The hard part was eventually we sold the detailing service. So then I was like, ooh, I don't know how we're going to do this because like we still have the experience. So we transitioned it basically later on. We kind of started taking that content, putting it more on our site, and we started recruiting authors from basically around the country. We just said we want to get a diverse group of authors that have different experiences, different climates too, and saying what are their experiences like, because someone in LA is going to have a very different experience than someone who's in like outside Boston. It's just going to be the clientele's different, the way the cars are driven, that whether you're getting rock salt versus you're getting ocean air is just different. So it's actually really interesting, and we want to make sure we cover all those topics. So basically we've had a ton of great authors who are on there now and past authors who have all contributed, great resources. I think it was a great way for them to pay back, because I think everybody here basically learned from somebody else. So I would say it's a great way to contribute back to them. Most of them just do it as a donation of their time.
Sure.
We hook them up with product and all that too, but they're really essentially doing it because that's what they like to do. We give them no direction in terms of like there's nothing we tell them, oh, you don't say this or don't talk about any products we don't carry. We don't do any of that basically. They're allowed to write more or less whatever they want, and it has been such an incredible resource not only for the community but even myself personally. I'm constantly learning from it. And I love having the different voices, and I like that they're also a layer detached from Detailed Image, that this is not an employee of ours.
Right.
This is somebody who operates a full-time business that dedicates their life to detailing, and this is what they thought about a product. And yes, maybe they got the product for free, but they're not necessarily sponsored by us or that brand.
No.
They're just giving their experience, and I think it's tremendous for everyone to learn off of, and it's a great resource. I recommend you checking it out. We also have a detailing dictionary on there. We also have a detailing guide on there that you can print out. They got a lot of the basics on there too, so to help yourself get started. And like I said, I think education is the biggest thing. If you just throw a product out there, do not expect it to land. We constantly try to preach education, education, education. Also, if you go on our website for almost any brand, if they provide directions, we upload it. We upload the labels for a lot of our liquids.
Cool.
We basically will do assembly directions we upload on there. So you have the PDFs for any buffer. So if you're just trying to do some basic service, you're trying to oil something, replace brushes, whatever, we have almost all that on there. Or we also have links to all the manufacturers and their service pages. So if you have a tool issue or you need warranty work, basically we have links to all their pages too. So basically we're trying to bring that education and those resources to people at all times from all angles to be basically a one-stop shop for anything the customer might need.
Well, that's fantastic, because that's a part from a lot of e-commerce places that's missing, I feel like, as far as the extra educational, informational stuff that goes along with it, like printing labels up and stuff. A lot of people, they'll just pull up the picture, like one picture the site has, and they'll zoom in and like try and read what's there, but you're not going to get it all. And it's without having it physically in front of you. You're buying it online, you're taking a risk if you can't find the info you're looking for. So
yeah, and also people want to know, what does the manufacturer recommend? Does that jive with things I've heard before? Do I feel comfortable actually doing that? And I think it's great to have it on that page, as opposed to then, like, if it's a coating, they might say, okay, well, I could go read a generic description of how to apply a coating, but I feel more comfortable. I want to know exactly what the manufacturer recommends. And that's fair enough. I mean, you're spending potentially $100+ on a coating. You want to be sure that you like what you're reading and like what you're buying. Also, there's, you use a coating, there's no easy return policy on that, too. You're either going to like it or not. You know what I mean? There's no way around that. So we want people to have every resource at their disposal to get the most out of the product. Right. And I always get frustrated when that doesn't work sometimes, too. I wish someone would have read it prior. Or if we don't have enough content up, I want to go out and attack it, and maybe I'll throw it out to the authors of our Ask a Professional Detailer blog and say, hey, this topic we're missing this. Is anybody, I'm going to send you a model. Would you be able to do a write-up on XYZ and explain it? So we're always trying to fill in the gaps, and we use our customer service emails as basically, the subject matter that we then want to feature in the Ask a Pro article. So please, I want our customers to understand that we really do value, and also on social media as well, that definitely has an impact as well, but we really take that stuff serious, and we really do want, your feedback actually means a lot, and you'd be surprised how much it steers the company into, maybe we pick up a new product to cover that area that we previously couldn't cover. Maybe we get an article up there. Maybe we got to go upload the new description. Maybe we need new photos for that product, because the photos are maybe not up to date, or they're not zoomed in enough on certain areas. So
a different color
you'd be surprised how much your emails basically create a to-do list for us, and we are constantly trying to knock it out, because we say, that email shouldn't come through again unless the person doesn't check our site for those things too. Right. So you'll see that we are fanatical about those types of things. Another little caveat from that too is any emails you send in here, basically, if it's from your account that you purchase from us, we save them basically in there too. So I can simultaneously be looking at all your feedback and all your purchases at the same time. So that's why we really push customers to email us, because I can give you a detailed response. I already know you have ONR. I already know you have Rupes buffer. So I already have some basis to kind of give you a recommendation on. You asked for pads, but maybe you didn't tell me what buffer you have. Well, I already know 2 buffers you purchased from us. So we basically kind of sync all those things together to get somebody really good feedback that actually is tailored to you, as opposed to some generic FAQ that says, you should check out our polishing guide. It's like that may help.
Helpful.
Yeah, I mean, and that may help, but I mean, we'll do that from time to time. But for the most part, one of the things you'll see from us is you're going to get a response that's tailored to you, and I hate that. I'm sure we actually we bring in emails. We get if I have to return something to some major company, we'll bring those emails back in here. If we get anything interesting, we share it with the group, so it's a learning thing. Because I hate it when I'm like, this didn't. I'm trying to think of an example. This did not fit me. Can I exchange it for the next size up or whatever? And then you get an email back. It's like, have you checked our frequently asked questions page? It's like, yes, I did check that, and it clearly didn't answer my question. That's like, I wouldn't send you this email if it did. So you just get frustrated, and they're like, then they send you something back that's even more ridiculous. Sometimes you're like, I just don't understand. This is the most basic question. Like, this has to be one of your top 10 questions. Like, why is this so challenging? And I pride myself on. Eventually, not saying we're perfect, but if you will not see that have to answer the same question multiple times with these numbers, we will figure out a way to get that information out there to you somehow proactively, so you can find it on your own if you want to seek it out. And if not, we're still going to answer it via email, but it's out there for anybody else to get it the right way the first time. And also, ultimately, because we want people to enjoy the products, use them the way they were meant to be used, get that the satisfaction of a job well done because they have the right product. I hate when someone says this product sucks, it's terrible, and you're like, no, I know it works. It should work for most people, most situations.
It didn't work for you in your situation, but it's clear to anybody listening, anybody watching right now, your passion comes through on the customer service front more so than almost anyone I think we've ever talked to. It's so clear that you really care about this stuff, and I think it shows. It really does.
And we're a small team really here too. It's Reese is our customer service person. He really takes over almost all of that. And it's a team to take care of the rest of the things I mentioned, whether it's rephotographing, getting labels up. We do utilize a lot of people to accomplish that, but really we're a very small company that I think has figured out how to do customer service on a big scale and do it really well without having to have these crazy resources dedicated to it. So I appreciate the compliment there, and we are working really hard at it, and still room to grow. We still have a lot of things we want to improve upon. We have projects lined up that we're going to be doing to get it even better, but I'm excited for what we've done and what's to come.
But as a resource, I mean, like your guys' website, for example, is like the gold standard of something that's navigable, that you can find really, really useful information no matter where you go. You're going to be covered on pretty much anything because you guys have thought about virtually every angle somebody could possibly take. Mostly because it sounds like you guys listen more so than I think I've heard anywhere else. Is just you guys actually take that feedback and you turn it around into something that is an improvement. An
actionable item too. And also we rely on the industry, and I'm lucky my business partners Adam and Mike, they are very tech savvy. And they're reading what is going on, what is the best practices worldwide for different types of businesses, and we're saying, can we incorporate that into our business? Does that make sense? Sometimes there are improvements maybe we can't actually implement, or they're too expensive, or they're just not realistic. But we're constantly scanning the world basically for improvements, whether it's our shipping, customer service, how do we get products in, recruiting and the best employees, all that stuff. We're basically trying to see what are the best practices worldwide and bringing it in here. And I'm lucky that they're both great readers of that stuff, and they're really good, and we constantly share articles with each other about whatever topic may be pressing for us. And there's very few things you have to think. You will be totally unique thoughts. A lot of things have already been done or discussed, and you're more likely to find the answer if you just search around and say, okay, I saw someone else did this, that makes a lot of sense, we should incorporate that with what we do. And certainly there's certain things we have to figure out on our own, but a lot of it's already been discussed. So you steal from the best. That's what I say.
There you go.
That's how we do it.
No, it's it's sincere, it's flattery, it's all that, but no, it really comes down to what's the customer going to get out of this, and clearly I'd say they're in really good hands.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And honestly, it always takes a team here too. I'm a part of leading that team, but it's always people. Ultimately, they're the ones who have to execute it on a daily basis, and they can do it basically without any guidance from me whatsoever. They basically know their roles. We've been doing this long enough now too that it doesn't matter if we have 1,000 packages or 10 packages. They can get them out in a day. They know how to balance all of that stuff, and I'm really proud of that group. And it always takes a good team, and you have to treat them well to make sure that they're taken care of, because they certainly deserve it.
Well, that's awesome. And I think after this we're going to do a little tour. We're going to go around. We're probably going to focus on like your shipping methods and stuff, because that's fascinating, and I think a lot of people who are listening to this probably like, oh, let's geek out over the details of how this works. I think it's pretty cool. I know these guys are interested, so we'll probably do a video about that over on our main channel. This is going to be on our podcast channel, so we got 2 different channels going on. But at any rate, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you guys. And thank you guys for coming all the way up here. We really appreciate the visit. I'm honored to have you guys here, and I'm sure we'll keep learning more and more from each other.
Yeah,
right on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, this has been the Rag Company Podcast, DETALKSCAST with Greg of Detailed Image, and this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to go take a look, go shoot some videos, but for us here, adios.
See ya.
See ya.
Take care.